because they gave me an update that broke my thing because they want me to update the fucking Windows 11, but joke's on them. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Suckers. Anyway, we're alive with we're alive with another episode of BS Busters. Thank you for joining us. The title of this episode is BS Busters. Different year, same stuff. I want to use a different S word, but YouTube might demonetize me. Although I don't really get enough views to monetize my shit anyway, so it's a mute point. But that's neither here nor there. Before we go any further, I'll have my co-host introduce himself, and then we'll dive into these topics. Go ahead, sir. Introduce yourself.
This is Kenoshi Abominito. Glad to be here on another one of these BS Busters.
All right. So we've got some interesting topics tonight. Mainly, same stuff, different year. So, basically, Ubisoft yet again is showing us why they are a terribly run company, and the Gama family needs to be just drummed out of running that company because clearly they are not up to snuff. So let me click on this news story, and we can go over it together. So today, Ubisoft had their earnings call for the start of their new year. The first thing, I guess the second topic first, they announced that Skull and Bones is being delayed yet again. And, I can't believe that a game is being, apparently, I can't believe that a pirate game that doesn't even allow you to board other ships and go on the land and bury your treasure that you stole from other ships. And all it is, you can't even recruit crew. I mean, if you want a really good pirate game, go play Pirates of the Caribbean 2000, the one that's a remake of the Sid Meier's Pirates Gold from back in the day. Cause this shit, go play the Obsidian's Rare's pirate game that is still kind of shit today. Before this, but apparently that's been canceled. That's been delayed yet again. Okay, the first quadruple A game that they ever made, because it's literally they've put I want to say almost $500 million into this game.
Jeez.
Not directly. No. See, it's being made by Ubisoft Singapore, and you see, they took tax write-offs and tax rebates and shit like that. So it's not really Ubisoft put their own money to it entirely. It's like 40-60. Ubisoft, 40% of that is Ubisoft's money. The other 60% is the taxpayers of Singapore. Now, Singapore is a very expensive country to live in, so, those poor suckers' taxes went into this shit show of a game. But let's keep it moving. So basically, that was just one delay. Ubisoft is struggling, has opted to cancel 3 more unannounced projects in order to focus on its existing brands and live services. So the game industry in recent years has shifted toward, quote, mega brands and long-lasting titles that can reach players across the globe, across platforms as business models, end quote, Ubisoft said in the update. Over the past 4 years, Ubisoft has attempted to do the same with its own major properties, including Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six, and The Division. I can tell you right now, Ghost Recon and Rainbow Six were trash. But it hasn't paid off. Games announced during the quote-unquote investment phase of this strategic shift have yet to come out, and its most recent releases have not met expectations. We are clearly disappointed by our recent performance, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot said in a statement. We are facing contrasted market dynamics as the industry continues to shift towards mega brands and everlasting live games, in the context of worsening economic conditions affecting consumer spending. Despite excellent ratings and players' reception, as well as an ambitious marketing plan, we were surprised by Mario plus Rabbids: A Sparks of Hope underperformance in the final weeks of 2022 and early January. Just Dance 2023 underperformed as well. But Ubisoft's troubles run much deeper than a couple of holiday flops. At the risk of oversimplifying things, it just can't seem to make anything happen. Skull and Bones is maybe the highest example of Ubisoft's recent inability to get games out the door. But don't forget that the 3 unannounced projects canceled today come just 6 months after Ubisoft pulled the plug on 4 other in-the-works games, including a Ghost Recon Frontline and Splinter Cell VR. No one was fucking asking for a Splinter Cell VR game. Frontline was a particular.
No.
Frontline was a particular. That was my own editorial. Frontline was a particularly stinging loss. It was unveiled in 2021 as a military-themed battle royale game. No one wanted a Ghost Recon battle royale game. Presumably aimed at giving Ubisoft a presence alongside games like Call of Duty Warzone, Apex Legends, Escape from Tarkov, and Hunt Showdown. Now, not much more than a year later, Ubisoft is still on the outside looking in at the success of those games with no imminent prospect of getting in on the action itself. But the bigger issue for Ubisoft is, well, a lot bigger. The company has canned 7 separate projects within a single fiscal year and has nothing to show for their absence. Nor does it have any major live service games like Apex Legends or GTA Online to keep the money trucks rolling between releases. Efforts on that front include Ghost Recon Frontline, Hyperscape. Yeah, that's the game that came out like, and 6 months later they pulled the plug on. And they also, an X Defiant, that's the one that they had like the cryptocurrency for that no one fucking bought. While the Division Heartland, which is supposed to be out later this year, has already been almost completely forgotten. Heartland, by the way, was also delayed. It was initially to go live sometime in 2021 to 22. Ubisoft's best bet for a live service hit is likely Assassin's Creed Infinity, which sounds promising but is also years away. Some of Ubisoft's troubles, to be fair, are just plain bad luck. Rainbow Six Extraction, for instance, was an interesting extraction shooter that was almost immediately forgotten after it launched in 2022. But as we noted in December, Ubisoft can't even seem to make the games it's already made. The Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake that was supposed to be out in early 2021 appears to have become trapped in limbo. And the only real news we've heard about the Splinter Cell remake announced in 2021 is that the director quit in October 2022. The bottom line
It
costs.
keeps getting worse.
Yeah. It's like just when you think it can't get worse, it gets worse. The bottom line cost for Ubisoft is ugly. The company has depreciated roughly 500 million euros. $538 million. So that's $500 million and capitalized research and development expenses related to, quote, upcoming premium and free-to-play games and the newly canceled titles, which essentially means that money spent developing these games is down the toilet. It's also revising its net bookings target for the third quarter of the fiscal year way down from 830 million 893 million converted to 725 million, 780 million. Beyond that, Ubisoft is looking to cut another 200 million in expenses over the next 2 years through targeted restructuring, divesting some non-core assets, and usual natural attrition. So, for those of you who don't understand marketing, bullshit marketing speak, targeted restructuring means they're going to fire a whole bunch of people, divesting some non-core assets, they're going to sell off some buildings, maybe get rid of some IPs that they haven't been doing shit with, and usual natural attrition. They're going to continue with their shitty managerial style so that people quit and just go away.
Yeah.
Let me just help you get through. Let me help people parse through some of that bullshit. Ubisoft's ongoing struggles also make it a tempting target for a takeover. The company successfully fought off a drawn-out acquisition bid by Vivendi in 2018, and the Guillemot family, which founded Ubisoft in 1986 and continues to hold a controlling stake, has repeatedly emphasized its desire to remain independent. I'll talk about that at the end of this article. But Ubisoft's share price has tailed off dramatically over the past 5 years, from a high 103 euros in July 2018 to less than 24 euros today. That's like $30 a share US. And that makes high price offers like the one tendered last year by Chinese powerhouse Tencent very difficult to turn down. All of this comes on top of high profile allegations of sexual abuse and misconduct in various Ubisoft studios, the lessons of which still don't seem to have entirely sunk in. It's not necessarily a death knell for Ubisoft, but the company is clearly in a bad spot. Turning that around will be a major undertaking, requiring not just cost cutting measures, but a meaningful change in the company's ability to actually make and release some dang games, all while trying to convince the circling sharks to leave it the hell alone. As we like to say in farm country, that's going to be a tough row to hoe. All right. So with that being said, you wanna jump in first, and then I'll mop
Yeah,
after you.
well, the problem with a lot of these companies is they keep relying on these big, heavy hitters to, to, uh, and to keep them alive. And then, when all doesn't go very well, then when all doesn't go. It's just funny they had all these other games that I'm sure they didn't sell as much as they could, but that's the problem is they sell an uh, outrageous amount, and that they can't. What I'm trying to say is they can't keep their budget straight. They over they they overblow their budget. Like how many times is this uh
Skull and
pirate game that
Bones.
they're making? Skull and Bones.
Yeah, Skull and Bones.
I wonder how many times this game has blown its budget.
I don't. I mean, they say it's a quadruple A game, which means it's at this point they've spent like almost $500 million probably making it, and that's not. They haven't even really marketed it. Personally,
Yeah, they should just give up and piecemeal the assets into something else
yeah.
in the other games.
The thing that bothers me, the hilarious thing about Skull and Bones is that it's missing shit that should be in a pirate game. Like, how the fuck are you gonna make a pirate game and you can't board other ships to raid them? How do you make a pirate
Yeah,
game and you can't, um, you can't like you can't go on land and like raid a fortress to take it over? It's a pirate game where you just point and click. It's like a
yeah,
browser game. Except they're browser games that are more advanced than this.
yeah,
Um, and that's just, I mean, I hate to say that, that's just a symptom of the disease that is Ubisoft. Because Ubisoft continuously keeps on dumping tons of money after games that come out and just they land with all of the a plume of a wet fart. It's like,
yeah,
oh really? Oh, that's cool. I didn't play the Rabbids games, neither of them, because I don't like the Rabbids. Um, yeah, I know I said it. I don't like the Rabbids. I've never liked the Rabbids. I didn't like the Rabbids when they added them to the Rayman universe way back in the day, like in the 6th gen when they had added the Rabbids, the 6/7th gen. I didn't like those fuckers then. I damn sure don't like them in combined in the Mario universe. Don't like them. So I didn't buy that game.
yeah,
I was like, eh. They made a sequel to something that I don't like, so I'm not gonna buy it. I didn't get the first one because I don't like the rabbits, so I damn sure wasn't getting the second one. I heard that the people who played the second one really liked it, but I was like, I'm not gonna buy it because I don't like those characters. Um,
yeah.
uh, I don't think it's a fair. Like, here's the thing: Ubisoft was expecting those games to sell gangbusters. Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, that's a very niche audience. Okay, like here's the thing. Okay, people who really like the rabbits. Now let's keep it real. Let's not pull any punches or be overly dramatic. The people, like, if they had released this during the Wii U or the Wii era, it the tactics, the RPG like light tactics positioning game that are the two rabbits Mario Kingdom Rabbids games would have done really well. But the Rabbids haven't been fucking relevant in over a decade.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit about the Rabbids. So you combining the Rabbids with Mario characters that Nintendo really hasn't done shit with either. Think about it. What was the last like new Donkey Kong game?
Uh, yeah, it was probably during the Wii U.
It was
They just
Tropical
ported
Freeze,
the
which was a
yeah, it's
shitty
Tropical Freeze.
yeah, which was a shitty rendition homage to Donkey Kong Country 2. But I mean, I'm just gonna say this right now: Donkey Kong Country 2 is a better game than Tropical Freeze. Um, and they created new characters for that game. Like it's not like they had the old characters from those rare games in there. Aside from
Um,
Cranky, Funky, Donkey, Dixie, and Diddy. Like they didn't have any of the old villains in that game. So like they haven't made like they didn't have Luigi in Mario Odyssey. He wasn't even a guest character.
no.
I mean, at least in Mario Galaxy, you got enough stars, you could get Luigi. Yeah, I'm playing Luigi now. Yeah, you had those Luigi stars, or you go rescue Luigi. It was cool. They didn't even give you. They didn't even throw you that freaking bone in Odyssey. They're like, fuck Luigi. Hey, Green Mario, my name's Luigi.
yeah,
So
yeah.
my point is this: you basically created two games using characters that no one's really been doing shit with for a while.
No, what really happened in Mario Odyssey is Mario went up to him and was like, "Look, I'm the only plumber who can jump really high." Broke his kneecaps.
Listen, hey, bro, remember, I'm a player one. I come first. It's like, what? Bro, bro.
Get your hover jump out of here.
You know, and I'm gonna keep it real. Like, I mean, like, here's the thing: Nintendo has had a lot on their plate, doing whatever the fuck because they don't tell anyone shit. Um, but you know, Ubisoft, like, Nintendo doesn't have a massive amount of resources. What they do have, they have to use very sparingly. So I can understand why they can't make as many. They can't utilize all the IPs they have. What's Ubisoft's excuse for not doing shit with the rabbits all these years?
Yeah.
Okay, they've got like 11 studios across 4 continents, and y'all couldn't like throw a bone. What about that shitty studio y'all gave the Prince of Persia game to that fucked it up so bad? They fucked it up so bad. Ubisoft Pune. They fucked it up so bad that they had to give it to one of their AAA studios. Do you know how badly you gotta fuck something up to where they have to they gotta take it away from you and give it to the AAA studio? That's sad, man. That's
With
some
the Prince of
sad
Persia
shit.
games, it's with the Prince of Persia games. It's like, they just gave him some Toll House cookies, and they screwed it up. Now they had to give it. Now they have to give the Toll House cookies for their to their professional chefs. They
Yeah,
have to pay twice as much
yeah.
for them
It's
to get
like,
made.
and this the sad thing is that they spent. Well, first of all, they went cheap because Pune's thing is that they were a backup studio. Like they like okay, let's say you have your AAA studio working on the big shit, but you need people to like do like put plants and shit in the background. Like let's say you have a Far Cry game and you have your main studio doing the AI subroutines and the enemy AI and the like the combat shit like that. But you need someone to go into the landscape and put the trees out and decorate that, do the textures for the houses so they don't look like shit. Which isn't to say much because I've played a lot of Far Cry games, and if you get close to a building, Far Cry games are ugly as shit. Like you get close to a building, it's like this building looks like trash. But that's what Pune did. They were like the backup studio that did the little small detailed grunt work shit. Why would you put one of the most iconic franchises you have in the hand of a studio who has no experience doing that type of shit?
Yeah.
Because remember, Ubisoft got big off of Prince of Persia. Like that was the big game for them was Rayman and Prince of Persia. Those were the big Ubisoft games that made them what they are. And then it
Yeah.
converted over to Assassin's Creed and Just Dance and all that stupid shit. So, I
Yeah.
mean, you know, but Ubisoft never learns their lesson. They pump tons of they keep on instead of creating new shit, they keep on chasing fucking trends. What was the last truly innovative shit Ubisoft came out with? I'll wait.
And nothing really. I mean,
I mean, nothing. Nothing. Like the last truly innovative thing Ubisoft came out with, you could say Rayman, but Rayman is just a 2D platformer with funky ass art styles. Okay. Um, Beyond Good and Evil, that was an action adventure game with a female protagonist with a funky ass art style. Um,
yeah.
Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell was a stealth shooter that was really about stealth. Like it was their answer to Metal Gear. But I think Splinter Cell had better controls than Metal Gear and a better camera than Metal Gear and better controls than Metal Gear. Um, Plus a better Sam Fisher is way more interesting than Solid Snake. But that wasn't theirs. Sam Fisher is a character created by Tom Clancy. He's a Tom Clancy character. So yet again, not an original idea.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ghost Recon. That's another Tom Clancy property. Um, Prince of Persia. I would say that's original, but Prince of Persia was originally created by that guy, like for PCs, and they just got the IP. So, yet again, not original. Um, yeah, Ubisoft at this point is just like they're so big that they can't afford to do new shit. They keep on chasing trends, and because they're so big, by the time the games get in development and all the teething issues and shit come out, the shit that they were like, well, if we come out, it'll be just a few steps behind the trending thing. It's like 5, 6, 7, 8 steps behind the trending thing. And what they come out with is old. It's old shit. No one cares. Essentially, Ubisoft is too fucking big.
Yeah.
And I've said this to people before. I said Ubisoft was much better when they were mid-sized. Because then they only could focus on so many projects at a time, and those projects could be good. Um, they're too goddamn big at this point. Um, and really, if the Guimard family was smart, they would downsize that whole fucking company and take it down to being small. Because clearly, them being huge isn't. It's a at this point, it's a detriment rather than being a plus. But eh. Anyway, um, anything else you want to say before we move on to the next topic?
Um. No.
All right. Next topic 18 games to look forward to that are coming out this year. I'm going to say the name of the title, give a brief description, and you'll say if you agree or disagree. And maybe we can have a discussion about it. Alan Wake 2.
I tried playing the first game. Couldn't really get into it.
Yeah, I'm not really like I'm not going to say I'm not into horror games, but like eh, like I know Alan Wake has more going into it, but to me, it just looks like generic white guy going through some shit.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking tired of generic white guy going through some shit video games. That's just me. I've seen enough of it in my life that I'm tired of it. Warhammer 40K Space Marine 2.
That could be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I remember playing the first game, and the first game kind of ends on a huge cliffhanger. And I'm like, man, how are they gonna come back from that? So now that they're gonna do like a proper sequel, I'm like, wow. Hopefully it'll be good.
I hope it's good too.
So I don't know, man. Um, you know, so for those of you who don't know what the Warhammer Marines are, imagine the StarCraft Terran Marines. Sorry, Confederation Marines, but a first person shooter. There you go. That's it.
Yeah.
That's as a matter of fact, the reason StarCraft got made was because Blizzard wanted to make a Warhammer. They went to Warhammer. They're like, "Hey, we want to make a Warhammer strategy game." And the Games Workshop was like, "Fuck off, mate." And they're like, "Okay." And they went and made StarCraft, and the rest is history. And the Games
Yeah.
Workshop punched themselves in the crotch and said, "Why are we being so stupid, mate?"
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. But because when you look at StarCraft, it's so much of a ripoff of Warhammer, it's not even funny. Like the Protoss
Yeah.
are a ripoff of the elves. Um the the Zerg are a ripoff of the Tyranids. Um Combined with the orcs a little bit. And the Terrans are just basically the Empire Man. That's all it is. It's literally the Marines are literally the Space Marines from fucking Warhammer. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Next game, Like a Dragon Ishin. This is the Yakuza game where they basically take the Yakuza characters and throw their asses back in the day into a fictional, fantasized, romanticized version of like steampunk era feudal Japan. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this. It comes out February 21st. This is going to be a birthday gift to myself. Uh,
So
about
did Warhammer invent the idea of Space Marines essentially?
basically, yeah. Yeah. The whole
Yeah.
idea of Space Marines with a chain gun and chain swords, like chain gun swords, and clunky ass armor moving very slowly, but like a juggernaut. Like they just go in there and fuck shit up. Yeah, that's Warhammer. That's all
Okay.
Warhammer, baby. Um, so if you hear a fanboy of like something say, "No, man, Warhammer stole that from blah blah blah," no, it was all stolen from Warhammer. Now, personally, I
Yeah.
can't get into Warhammer because the Empire of Man is a fascist dictatorship, and Warhammer, especially the 40K, is just really fucking depressing. So,
Yeah.
I don't like fantasy that's that depressing. And this is coming from someone who likes Shadowrun, which is basically set in a fictionalized cyberpunk future where magic comes back. The Native Americans use their shamanistic abilities to reclaim their stolen lands by the U.S. Corporations get granted even more powers by the U.S. Supreme Court, to where they basically all the police become privatized because privatized security forces have more legal protections than the government. Like it's a dark, fucked up future. When I say Warhammer is too dark for me, that tells you something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and here, like I said, I'm a Shadowrun guy. Um, looking forward to Like a Dragon Ishin. Looking forward to it. Hope it's really good. Diablo 4. Don't give a
I'm
shit.
actually looking forward to that game.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna wait for reviews and see what what comes of that. I'm more than likely gonna pick up Street Fighter that month over
Mm-hmm.
Diablo 4.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I'll enjoy that a lot more. But
Yeah.
like I said, I'll probably wait for reviews. Wait, for the expansion stuff to come out or something. See how it does.
All right.
Uh,
For me, I just didn't really give a shit. I was like, I don't really care. Um,
yeah,
I haven't given a shit about Diablo since Diablo 2. Like when Diablo 3 came out, I'm like, I don't really like this. And I was just like
yeah,
underwhelmed by it, you know. Um,
yeah, yeah. I get it. Diablo 4 was it was a nice time sink, but after you get level up and after you end up defeating Diablo, it's just kind of like I don't care anymore. Don't want to play on the harder difficulties. Not really into the whole grind. After seen everything once.
I mean, the thing that bothered me about that game, about Diablo 3, is that it was always online. So you couldn't really mod it and add cool shit to it.
The thing about those sort of games is like they want you to play it over and over again, and get new gear, but they don't really change anything other than the fact that the enemies just become
More
well,
spongier.
more spongy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they become spongier. They don't really act different. The environments don't act any different. Uh, you know,
Yeah,
um,
there's nothing new. Nothing new's been added.
yeah,
Yeah. That's kind of like my issue with that's kind of like my issue with I mean, that's what really kind of made me not really give a shit about Diablo 3 was like, okay, like cuz Diablo 1, Diablo 2, I can go back and play those games with mods that add new content, new classes, new areas. It's like a brand new game. Diablo 3, like I can only use certain mods and they don't substantially change the game because the game is always online, and if you do too much modding to it, you can't be online. I'm like, why the fuck does this have to be online? Like if I spent 60
yeah,
or 70 or $80 on the game, why the fuck what does it matter with you what I do with this game? If I spent, and especially when I'm not playing it online, I'm not playing with other people joining the game with me. I'm not using the online auction house, which they got rid of. So why the fuck are you? Why do you care what I do with my game that I spent money on?
yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3. Um, I was looking forward to this game until I realized that it was in early access and it was $60. I was like, no.
Yeah, that was way too much for an early access game.
Well, I mean, just the fact that it was $60 and in early access, and what you were getting was just like like a third of the game. I'm
Yeah,
like, why would you do that?
I can see charging like $30,
Yeah,
maybe even $40 at the start, then
but
charging $60 at
for a
launch.
third of the game.
Yeah,
Witchfire. It's a dark fantasy shooter made by the same people who made Painkiller and uh, Bullet Storm. Yeah, Bullet Storm. The game where basically you could uh like kick people in the air and then shoot their bodies multiple times. And
yeah,
John St. John, the voice of Duke, like because People Can Fly. It was published by Gearbox. Like they released a version where you could swap out the main character for Duke Nukem, and it was hilarious because
Yeah.
like having Duke Nukem say shit, it was hilarious. He's like, "Hey man, what the fuck happened to your face?" It's like hey, that sounds like some shit. It was the best Duke Nukem game I've played in a long time.
Yeah.
Hey, hey man, what happened to your what the fuck happened to your face, man? It's like it's time I came here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum. Yeah.
Hmm.
Shake it, baby. Anyway, Witchfire is basically a dark fantasy shooter developed by the guys who made Painkiller. So, um, you know, hey, it's a dark fantasy shooter with shotguns and magic. So, yeah. Looks kind of like
Yeah.
shit, but I mean, first person shooters don't have to have the best graphics. Matter of fact, some of the ones that have like mid tier graphics perform better than the ones that are going for, oh, it's such a gorgeous game, but it runs like ass.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you want the, especially fast paced games, you really want that locked frame rate.
Yeah, yeah. So I've never understood that, but that's just my own personal opinion. Hades 2. Now I enjoyed Hades. I spent a lot of time in that game. Played it multiple times to basically beat it. To get the real ending. Um, and I'm probably not gonna get it at launch because I didn't get the original Hades at launch, but I'll wait until it goes on sale or has a minor discount and I'll get it.
Yeah. I don't think that game's coming out this year. I'm guessing 2024.
Yeah, it says
I
to be announced, so it's probably going to get pushed back. Although considering they already created the engine for the first Hades, I think that even if they do delay it, there's a higher chance of it coming out this year because they don't have to make everything from scratch.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Sigil 2. Now, for those of you who don't know what Sigil is, Sigil was essentially it was an expansion to Doom made by John Romero, and he's making a sequel, and it's coming out this year. Apparently, the end of this year. And I mean, it's John Romero, so I'm quite happy with it. Will I get it? Maybe, maybe not. But I'm happy. Look, anytime I hear John Romero's making something, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be cool with it. Starfield, apparently coming out this year. Um,
That game needs 10 more years in the oven.
the problem is that if someone told me Obsidian was making this game, I would have more faith. The fact that Bethesda's making it, I'm just like, it's probably gonna be fucked at launch.
That
And
game looked
yet,
like it was just coming out of alpha last year when they showed it last year. Like, this
despite
game ain't ready for nothing.
despite saying all of that, I'm probably gonna get it just so I can talk shit about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
just so I can talk shit about it, I'm gonna get it. Just so I ain't that about a bitch. That's like going with a girl who looks like shit just so I can talk shit about her after I'd go on a date. That's basically what I'm doing. Like, yeah, her breath stank. She got a mustache. She wasn't good in bed either. You fucked her? Well, man, I went on a date. I wasn't just gonna leave dry, man. Something was gonna happen.
God dang.
So yeah, I'm gonna get it just so I can talk shit about it. So that when I tell you that this game has problems, I don't want people to say, "Oh, you didn't even play it." Oh, I played it. It was terrible. Mask of the Rose. Now, Mask of the Rose is the next game, and it's basically a adventure, um, role-playing adventure dating sim game. This games like this live or die on how well they're written. But the art style looks really cool, so hopefully it'll be a really good game. Knock on wood. Darkest Dungeon 2. Now, I liked the first Darkest Dungeon, but I'm gonna say something that's gonna make some people upset. I cheated and played the game with a trainer. So
Yeah.
I didn't play that game with the hardest shit on there, but uh, I still enjoyed it for what it was. The central conceit of this Darkest Dungeon is that the first Darkest Dungeon was a roguelite where you were going to lose your characters and characters were going to go insane and die, and you'd have to have them on their downtime. You'd have to juggle your stable of characters so that they could get the help they needed to keep their sanity in check. This game,
Yeah.
instead, you get you don't get multiple guardians, multiple soldiers, multiple berserkers, multiple plague doctors. You get one of each class, and they interact with each other on the carriage ride to save the world. With the same issues of, oh shit, this person's going insane because this is like Lovecraft shit where they're dealing with some fucked up shit and slowly going insane dealing with it. So if you like Call of Cthulhu, Darkest Dungeon 2 is going to scratch that itch for you. I've played Call of Cthulhu. I never was like, oh my god, it's the best shit ever. I was like, it's fine. So there you go. Darkest Dungeon 2 might be great.
Yeah.
Company of Heroes 3. It's an RTS set in World War II. Any game that lets me murder the shit out of Nazis, I'm okay with, because fuck them. They're Nazis. I might not get this game, but I give it 2 thumbs up, because any game that lets you play as an army in World War II, murdering the shit out of Nazis, 2 thumbs up. I approve murdering the shit out of Nazis. Am I canceled? Am I canceled for murdering the shit out of Nazis? Keeping in that vein of RTSs, we have Tempest Rising. Tempest Rising is coming from people who really liked Command and Conquer. So it's basically like, since EA won't do it, someone else stepped up and said, we'll fucking do it. So yeah.
Are they doing live action cutscenes?
I wish they would. I think I don't think it's gonna go that far, but if they did, I'd be like, oh yeah. If they got Billy D. Williams, because that was one of the cool things about the original
Command and Conquers.
Yeah, that was the original Command and Conquers. Is like they got some really good I wouldn't say good. They got some high quality
actors and actresses.
Well, I mean, they knew it was shit, but they were hamming it up. Like they had like Tim Curry.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to the one place that hasn't been contaminated by capitalism, space. It's like, oh god. It had Billy D. Williams as a colonel. I'm like, oh shit, this is awesome. PC gaming back in the day was awesome. PC gaming has always been better, in my opinion, than a lot of console gaming. Just because PC gaming, you have a lot more. PC gaming was cheaper to develop for a lot of times, so you could games could take more chances and do more interesting things than console gaming, where you had to play it much safer. Plus, you had access to more memory and shit like that, which I loved. So, yeah. Anyway, let's keep it moving. Street Fighter 6. Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to this game, not for the multiplayer, but for the single player, because apparently you wander around Metro City where they're having a Street Fighter competition, and they're actually doing something we've never seen in Street Fighter. There's actually going to be street fighting in Street Fighter. Can you believe that shit?
Yeah.
They're fighting in the streets. And hopefully, since it's in Metro City, during some of the fights, you can knock over a garbage can and pick up some sweet, sweet garbage can pizza to replenish your health.
Yeah.
maybe tag in Mayor Mike Hager. It's like, hey man, you're like 80 years old. Yeah, but I'm still bad. All those steroids kept me limber. Who wants some? Yeah, it's like, okay, shit, all right, that's okay, come on. I mean, they got old man Ryu in here. He's looking hard at 55. He's like, look, man, I'm old, but I can still fuck you up. They got like 60 something. They got Equalizer, Colonel Guile, where he's like hitting the timer to time himself kicking people's asses, like the Equalizer style. I'm like, this is fucking amazing. Maybe we can get the old school palette swap where you could turn Guile into a black guy with a flat top, which made a lot more sense. I'm like, Capcom, why don't you just like take the plunge and turn him into a black guy with a flat top? That would make more sense than him being a white guy with a flat top buzz cut. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah, the thing this game has that Street Fighter V doesn't have is the style.
Yeah.
Street Fighter V is like the developers from that game were like, we're just here to get paid.
Well,
we're just here for the paycheck.
I don't think that was the case with Street Fighter V. I think Street Fighter V they rushed that game out for some reason. I don't know why. They rushed it out and they were like, we're going to get it out there regardless of whether or not it's ready or anything like that. And that in turn basically ruined the whole situation for everybody. You know, as we all know, that ruined the whole thing for everybody involved. So, like me personally, I'm about to say something that's gonna make some people very upset, but I don't give a shit. Like I don't think it's cool that they basically like they scapegoated Yoshinoro like that, because like if your bosses tell you to put something out and you're like, look, I don't think it's ready, fuck you, put it out anyway, and then it bombs because it's not ready, and then they're like, well, you got to fall on your sword. It's like, but you told me to do that. Fuck you, get out of here. Which is what they did to that guy. Because no one wants to put out a shitty product unless you're Bethesda, because there's no way Bethesda could not know those games aren't up to snuff at launch. But that's my own personal opinion. I could be wrong. What do I know? I'm just some guy. But anyway, yeah, that's my own personal opinion. I know some people are gonna get mad when they hear that. I don't really care if they get angry. Don't really care if people get angry about it. Not really. I'm okay with people not agreeing with it, but yeah, I think what happened with Street Fighter V is that it was rushed out because Capcom's like, we need to meet this deadline, and rather than delay it and just not have something come out, they were like, we're gonna release this game, and it won't matter because it's Street Fighter, but it did matter, ironically, because it is Street Fighter. Street Fighter, and people have seen them do better. So whatever. But this one, and plus, like they changed the core characters too much. Like they fucked up M. Bison. There was like Street Fighter V was missing too many modes at launch. Like the single player mode was trash. It didn't exist. It was all like versus mode initially, with like you could do like basic like you versus the AI, if I remember correctly. It
Do that. They didn't even have that.
Yeah, it was just like how are you gonna be missing all this shit and sell people on it? Like, be like, yeah, man, you better buy this. It's like, no. What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think ultimately what I think that ultimately this next Street Fighter. Street Fighter 6 is gonna have to be a return to Street Fighter being fun and silly.
Yeah.
Stop trying to make it into a serious, like, Street Fighter's supposed to be fun. Street Fighter's supposed to be approachable and fun. Like, don't stop trying to appeal to those. Because here's the thing: people who play games competitively are only 0.001% of the people who play your games. Everyone else is just someone who's got like a PS5 or an Xbox Series X or a PC. They're hooking the shit up and they're just playing it and calling it a day. Don't try and make this shit just only appeal to hardcore people. Next, Manor
Yeah.
Lord. It's a strategy game where you build houses in like the medieval times. So, cool, I guess. Here's something that looks cool. Fortune's Run. Now, Fortune's Run is a fast-paced shooter that takes inspiration from the likes of Deus Ex and Jedi Knight, where you play like a katana wielding badass space person going around running bounties and shit. Looks really cool. I'm looking forward to it. It's an indie game, so I'm probably gonna get it. So there you go. Armored Core 6 Fires of the Rubicon from Software. Yeah. Now, those of you who be like, oh, From Software, are those the, yep, the same, they're one and the same. The people who make those hard as shit games,
Yeah.
you know, those hard as shit Dark Souls games. Well, before they were
Yeah.
doing that shit, they were making a little something called, they were making a little game called Armored Core. Now, if you think the controls for Dark Souls are kind of shitty and overly engineered, Armored Core even more so, because you're using giant. Excuse me, you're using giant mechs. So yeah, you like games with people walking around in giant mechs beating the shit out of people, blowing shit the fuck up. Armored Core. It was a big game back in the PS2 era, and then From Software kind of like got tired of it and went off to do other things. And we got King's Court and Kingsfield and Dark Souls and all that other shit. But before that, it was Armored Core. It was basically Japan's answer to BattleTech and Mech Warrior, shit like that. But it was on consoles versus being on PC. So,
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, Armored Core. Is it gonna be good? I don't know. I've never really like Armored Core was one of those games that I like watching people play, but I never liked playing.
Yeah.
So, like, I'd rather play Front Mission than Armored Core because Front Mission is more of like an RPG, whereas Armored Core tries to be like a mech warrior, a mech like almost simulation. It's ridiculous. Next, Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is a return, allegedly, is a return to the old school style of Assassin's Creed where you would sneak around, stab a motherfucker, jump into a hay bale, and hide. Versus the RPG that Assassin's Creed has become over the last few years, 6, 7 years. Personally, I've never really been that much into Assassin's Creed. I know a lot of people like the Ezio trilogy. I am not
Yeah.
one of those people. I didn't really like Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed. I have those games on PC. It doesn't do anything for me, but
Yeah.
to each his own. Um I heard they're also Ubisoft is also apparently, if it hasn't been canceled, making an Assassin's Creed game set in feudal Japan. So finally, what people have been asking for fucking years: ninjas versus assassins. But
Yeah.
they'll probably fuck that up because it's Ubisoft. Ubisoft, we fuck shit. We fuck up an easy, simple shit. We fuck it up.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's just too late for it now. They've ran the Assassin's Creed name into the ground so much.
I mean, if they go back to the old stuff, they might be able to pull it off. I really do think they might be able to pull off. The problem is that, um, like, is it gonna get the pop that it deserves? Probably not,
Yeah.
because Ubisoft's been fucking up for so long. Because that's what Ubisoft does. They love fucking up. You know, it's like, oh, this should be an easy layup. Nah, I'm gonna fuck it up.
Yeah.
Because we're Ubisoft. That's what we do. We fuck up. If it's easy, we're gonna fuck it up. Anyway, um, so with that being said, we got one last topic left, or at least two. Wait, let me check. Let me check the thing. No, hot takes. Last topic. So, do you have a hot take or free topic you would like to bring up before we wrap things up?
Um, I know there are some people that are down about gaming, but gaming is not as bad as what people think it is. A lot of the terribleness is coming from these really big publishers that are throwing us in the giving us the okey doke. But
Yeah, indies are stepping
there's
up.
a lot of independent stuff out there that's pretty decent. I know you don't necessarily buy high end hardware for independent stuff, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of smaller stuff out there that's still pretty good. Um, so
I agree. I agree. Yeah, the indies are the ones who are bringing stuff up. Um, I think we can all agree on that. I think that AAA has let us down.
yeah,
Um, AAA has proven to just be an illusion. Because I mean, yeah, Ubisoft's been making AAA games and they've been trash. It's like hot buttered ass is what I call a lot of Ubisoft's games. Same thing with um, EA, Activision Blizzard. So you know,
yeah,
maybe it'll get better, maybe it won't. I don't know, but hopefully, hopefully things will get better. Maybe, hopefully, I don't know. Maybe I'm being overly hopeful, but that's just me. Do you have any uh anything else you want to say before we move on to the next topic? Or till I give my free topic, sorry.
nah, I don't
Yes,
have
no,
anything
maybe
else to
so.
say.
All right, here's mine. It's about the video game union. yes, I'm glad that video game developers are unionizing. It's a good thing. Um, there definitely needs to be there definitely needs to be some people coming up and saying we will not be taken advantage of anymore.
Yeah.
Because let's keep it 100%. These people have been abused, molested, and generally taken advantage of for years now. And it's about time for them to say we can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
Like that old thing. We're not gonna take it. We're not gonna take it. You know. I mean, how long? How long do they have to deal with this shit? You know.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Um. Also, quick mention. There's two games that are also apparently coming out this year that I am kind of looking forward to. Redfall. It's
Yeah. That game looks pretty good.
yeah. It's like apparently it's like Far Cry but with vampires. Um. And I was like, okay, the fact that it's not made by Ubisoft and it's got vampires and Dishonored 1 and 2 have been really good. I think the first Dishonored was better than 2 by a smidge. Deathloop was okay, but the central conceit wasn't that good. But I'm hoping that it says that it's co-op. I hope you don't have to play it co-op in order to really enjoy it.
Yeah.